I would say in Ghana there is a little bit of an obesity problem. The amount of oil, let's just talk about the amount of oil that is used in some of these foods. When you have weight equals wealth. Those uncles, you know, they wear their tops and then the top is all the way out here. You know, we're talking about portion control and things like that. In Ghana, what is portion control? A thing called Ghana rice, right? Nobody wants to eat Ghana rice. Nobody wants to buy something and it goes off in 2 days, it's gone off in the fridge. We want to have those preservatives. You think about how many people are now starting to die early because they have heart problems. And then we bring out the baked beans, we pour the baked beans inside the salad, then all the mayonnaise. I didn't even know people eat salad and go to bed. I didn't even know that was a thing until I was an adult. Hey guys, welcome back. Okay, in today's episode, I want to talk about Ghana food, right? I did a video, I think one of the last couple of videos anyway, and then I had mentioned cereal, right? And many people were like, don't eat cereal, it's processed food, and I get that. That's absolutely correct. You're definitely correct in saying that. But it just got my brain thinking, right? And I'm like, you know, some of the Ghana foods these days are not as healthy as what we think that they are. Like, times have changed so much. Food has changed. The way that we are delivered food is just very different. Now, one of my observations when I moved to Ghana was, you know, I thought that, you know, when I go to Ghana, like the food is just going to be so rich, it's going to be so good. And it is. I'm not saying Ghana food is bad. It's not. I would say that it's the way that we cook it. Okay, the ingredients that we're using are not the same types of ingredients that say our grandparents used to use, right? Now, I will say this, a lot of people when they move to Ghana, one of the first things that happens to them if they were, you know, had a little bit of weight is that they lose a ton of weight. Okay, that's because the lifestyle is different, the food is different, the food is definitely better than the West. Let me just put that disclaimer in there immediately before you think I'm bashing, right? The food in Ghana is definitely better, and it's not necessarily unhealthy, it's the way that we are fed the food. Okay, for starters, now the food that we cook is cooked with a lot of refined oils, portion sizes. You know, we do a lot of things wrong when it comes to eating Ghanaian food, right? And not to mention the fact that some of us eat very late at night. One of the things that I've observed in Ghana, in fact, even before I came to Ghana, right, even within the Ghanaian community when I lived in the UK, is that there was this thing where the wives would, you know, make the food, make sure everybody's eaten, clean up and everything before they went to eat. And so often what was happening is that they're eating very, very late at night, and they're eating heavy foods like banku, fufu, kenke. It's like these are starch heavy foods, and so those are the things that they're eating late at night just before they go to bed. So now they've cleaned up, they've eaten that, and they're going straight to bed. You can only imagine what's going to happen. So it's not necessarily that the food is bad. Sometimes it's the time that we're eating some of these foods that's just wrong for us, right? We have to be careful about how we are eating. So I would say in Ghana there is a little bit of an obesity problem, and there are several aspects of that I'm going to tackle as the video goes on. Okay, but I think the way that food was presented to us in the past, because of how times are changing, it's almost like the food needs to be able to change with that. And what I mean by that is, back in the day, you know, when our grandparents used to eat heavy foods like the fufu, the banku or whatever, right? They've gone and done some hard work before they've eaten, right? They've been on the farm, you know, they've gone and they've gone and got their food, right? They've had to go through a process, so they've sweated, they've worked for it, and now they're coming to eat the food. And so it's almost like they've burnt off the calories that they're going to eat now, and so it didn't affect them so much. So if you notice, a lot of the guys, right, they're very muscly, like very, very muscly. And it, you know, that's how Ghanaian men were known to be, like muscly, you know, really very well in shape. You know, even for the women too, the same thing. Women were deemed to have really good bodies. They were strong, they were fit, you know, but that's because they were doing a lot of hard work before they were eating, right? Before the food was presented to them. Now, what has changed during that time? In my observation, a lot of people now don't have time to cook in the way that they did. They're not working on farms in the way that they used to, right? So the hard work it's like we've come to a system where now the hard work is not what it used to be, right? We're looking for easy ways to eat. So although we haven't necessarily adopted the whole microwave food concept, right? Where in the West, you know, everything is pre-packed for us. You know, you pop a hole in the top of the lid, you put it in the microwave, you warm it up and you just eat it, right? We're not on that level yet, but we are definitely headed in that direction. So, you know, we eat out because it's convenient, it's faster. And I'm not joking, it's sometimes cheaper to eat out if you are looking at local places like local chop bars and things like that. Now, one of the things that I've observed when it comes to places like that, the amount of oil. Let's just talk about the amount of oil that is used in some of these foods. It's crazy. Even for me personally, when I've had house help, right, I've had to tell them, can you reduce the amount of oil that you're using to cook the food? Because I'm like, I buy this 4.5 liter frito oil thing like this, and then before the month has ended, the oil is finished. I'm like, what's happened to the oil? All the oil has been in the food. So sometimes what I find is that if they've like made me stew or something, I'm scraping the oil off the top because I'm like, it's too much. And I have to keep saying, reduce the oil, reduce the oil, reduce the oil. But it's almost like these people don't know how to cook without cooking with using like tons and tons of oil. I'm just like, we need to cut back on the oil. And that's where a problem is coming from, you know. A lot of us, like I said before, a lot of us, you know, we're picking up food on the go. So you go to chop bars, you know, you're ordering the food that you want. You're ordering your 2 bowls of banku and some soup, and then you just go home and you eat it because it's convenient. You've been doing whatever you've been doing the whole day. You don't have time to go, because let's be honest, some of those foods, the prep work that's involved is a lot, and people don't have time for that. And so that's an issue for many of us, right? We don't have time for the prep work anymore. You know, a lot of the time where back in the day, the woman may not have necessarily had to go to work. So she was at home. So the only thing that she's really doing is she's looking after the house and she's cooking. Those are her responsibilities. So she's got time to put in the prep work to do some of these foods, you know, while the man has gone to hunt or whatever. That's not happening anymore. The man and the woman are both going out to work. And so people are tired. So, you know, either you make something fast to eat or you buy the basics and you come and you know, put it together at home, and that's what's happening. Another issue that we have is that it's terrible in Ghana. When you have weight equals wealth. If you have a man with a big, massive belly, it's seen that he's eating well. That means his wife is doing a good job because he has weight. You know, it's like we associate the fact if someone is very slim, very skinny, right? That means they're undernourished. You know, they don't eat, they don't have food, they don't have access to food, so that's classed as poverty. The reason that you're so small is that, you know, you're probably in poverty or something like that. When you go to family gatherings, right, the family is like, well, you need to eat, you're so small, we have to get you, like, how many of us does that happen to? Oh no, you're too small, we need you to eat, we need you to eat. There are these societal pressures that we have, and so they're forever wanting to feed us. That's the culture, because when you have weight, it's stature, and so therefore that's classed as being wealthy. That's classed as being like, this person is good. And so now we're seeing a rise of where we have men with big bellies. So it's no longer about trying to have muscles and being in tone, being strong. It's about the belly. So we've all seen it, those uncles, you know, they wear their tops and then the top is all the way out here. And even the same is happening for women as well. What's happening with women is that women have pressure to be curvy. It's like when you're curvy, that's like, oh, this woman's, you know, she's got nice stature, she's got weight, and there's nothing wrong being curvy, right? But you have to be curvy in the right way, okay? So it's not fat curvy, like, you know, you got piles of it, you got rows and rows and rows of stuff. It's not like that. But it's like women are expected to have, you know, a little bit of a belly. Some men like that in Ghana. A little bit, the woman has a little bit of a belly, then she has the buttocks and she has the hips and she has everything. Some men like that, and that again is classed as, this woman is looking good. There's that pressure to be curvy. If you're Ghanaian and you're not curvy, it's like there's like this thing, how do I even say this? It's like this thing where it's like, oh, well, you know, she's not as delicious, you know, because she doesn't have all the curves in the right place. And that whole thing is very strong in Ghana, because even sometimes I feel like it, because sometimes I'm small, right? I mean, I have a little bit of fat here and there, but you know, like I feel that pressure where I'm like the clothes that are catered to women are catered for curvy women with big bottles, you know, a little bit of belly size, hips and all of that. And the truth of the matter is that not everyone's built that way. Not everyone is naturally built that way, should I say. Because some people will eat. I know people that deliberately make sure they overeat so that they can get the curves and the rolls in the right way, because they feel like that's what some men want. They want to have their body that way. And that's why this whole BBL thing is happening in Ghana. It's everywhere, even in, I can say, in Africa, right? The whole BBL experience is taking off, because where some people naturally have that, not everyone can naturally have that. Not everyone can naturally get a big botos by making sure that they overeat. Some people don't have it. So what they go and do is they go do BBLs so that they can fit into that category of, well, you know, now you have the hips, you have the botos, now you're good. Now you're seen as somebody, you know, with weight, somebody who's healthy, somebody who's doing good. And that association is really bad. It's very, very bad for Ghanaians. I'm going to stick with Ghanaians, right? It doesn't look well for us. But that's what's kind of like coming out at the moment. And the funny thing is, the West, who we see as, you know, we eat the terrible things, you know, the cereals, the packaged food, the microwave foods, all of this, you know, like all of that stuff. Now the West is becoming more health conscious, right? We still have a problem in the West. Don't get me wrong, we have a very big problem. But now there's a lot more education when it comes to eating. So we're encouraged to read the packets. So, you know, you pick up things in the store and the first thing you do is you look at the ingredients like, nah, this has got a load of rubbish in it. And so you put it down, you look for something a bit healthier. We're taught to cook with less oil. You know, maybe we're not trying to use these refined oils. Try and look for healthier alternatives if we're going to use oils. You know, we're talking about portion control and things like that. In Ghana, what is portion control? There's times that I've gone out in Ghana and I've been like, can I have one bowl of banku? Only one? Why only one? Try and eat two, okay? And it's like this constant pressure to try, and the more you eat, the better it is for you almost. And it's like some people don't eat that. Like for me, one bowl of banku, I'm good. Like I'm full. Like I could probably eat maybe a little bit more, but I'm like, why do I need to eat that? It's almost like we eat to be over full so that you know that, oh my gosh, I've eaten. Like that whole thing, and then you sleep, you know, the itis that we used to talk about. It's like you need to have that, but that's not actually how you're supposed to eat. You're supposed to eat until you feel satisfied. So you're not supposed to eat fast, because you know your brain takes time before it catches up with what your body's doing, right? So sometimes if you eat too fast, you don't even realize that you're already full, but you keep going because your brain hasn't received the signal that you're full yet. And so now you're actually overeating. That's why people say take time when you're eating, right? So that your brain and your body can catch up with the two, so that you know when you're actually full. But anyway, yeah, so it's like we are not doing portion control in Ghana. We are literally you just eat whatever you want, because we have the notion that Ghanaian food is healthy, it's good for you, especially compared to the West. And so we're just running with it, and we're just eating, we're just putting in our mouths whatever we want. Even the way the food is cooked, you think about it, right? Every time someone comes to my house to cook, when it comes to meats being in there, it's always fried. It's always fried. I have never ever come across anybody that's like, oh, can I put the chicken in the oven? Can we bake it? Can we do this? No, it's always that the meat is fried first. So they'll fry it and then they'll put it in the stew. Whether it's meat, fish, chicken, whatever, it's always fried. And it's just like, that's a lot of oil. Even when it comes to things like Indomie with noodles, right? It's fried, plenty of oil, it's fried. One time I had someone come and it was like the oil that was dripping from the noodles. I'm like, why is this necessary? Like, it's too much oil, it's too much refined oils. Like, the food is not the same as the food our grandparents used to eat. It's not too far from it, but it's the way that we're eating it that's not good for us anymore. A lot of the foods that we have now in Ghana are imported, right? We're not growing our own food. Look at when it comes to rice. So there's a thing called Ghana rice, right? Nobody wants to eat Ghana rice. I don't want Ghana rice. I mean, I want the whole American rice. I want, you know, these rices that we think are from abroad. Those are the ones that we like, because we feel like it means that we're eating something better than eating the Ghana rice. Now, some people say Ghana rice is hard, or that it has like bits of gravel in it. So some people don't like it. So we go for these processed foods instead. Now, the reason that your rice is so white is because it has been refined, it's been processed to the point where, so it looks white for you so that you want to eat it. And we have a lot of problems when it comes to rice dish, like the types of rice that I see on the shelf sometimes, I'm like, it even scares me. I'm not even a person who is like overly, I don't want to say overly health conscious, but I'm not really a person that is too fussy, right? Like there's certain things that I like. Me personally, I like basmati rice. That's the kind of rice that I like. When I go to buy basmati rice, they're like, expensive rice, or rich people's rice. That's what they say. That's the rice that I like. But you know, the types of rice, when I see it on the shelf, I'm like, this rice doesn't even it doesn't even look good for you. I'm like, I'm scared. Like sometimes when I go places, I'm even scared to eat the rice because I'm like, I don't even know what kind of rice this is. We have so many different types, and some of them are really heavily starchy. There's one particular brand of rice. I was so surprised that it was full of the amount of starch that it had in it. I was highly shocked because it was like, it's supposed to be like a Ghanaian brand, but it was full of starch. I'm like, It's like you wash the rice and it's like, it looks like rice pudding because it was just so starchy. I'm like, so you have to be really, really careful of some of these things. So we're using a lot of imported goods to cook our foods now, and we're not cooking in the same way that we were before. And when we're eating a lot of these foods, they've been stripped of the nutrients, full of trans fats, so many things that are bad for us. I will say this though, when it comes to the UK, we are very lucky in the UK that compared to America, there are certain foods in the UK that are banned that are not banned in UK, certain ingredients. And so it's like when I come to the States, I'm on high alert about the things that are on the shelf that I'm eating, because I'm like, in the UK, we wouldn't be allowed to eat this. And so it does feel a bit scary in that sense, because in the UK, although you will read the packet, right, you don't worry as much about the foods that you're eating. Whereas I feel like in the States, you have to worry a lot more. There's so many things. Like just reading the back of the packet, you worry because some of the things you can't even pronounce. You're like, what is this? Like some long list of ingredients. I'm like, just for like potato chips, crisps. I'm like, why do we have so many ingredients? Like this is something you can even make at home. Just like go get the potato, peel it, do like it. They're not things that are beyond us to do, but everything is convenience, and that's how it's been sold to us. When things are convenient, there's usually going to be some type of problem with it, right? Because now we're talking about preservatives. The thing is that people want to keep food fresh, and the only way to keep certain foods fresh is to use preservatives. We're not thinking about natural ways that we can preserve foods anymore. We're just thinking about how we can make the biggest profit and get that food to last as long as possible, because that's what people want. They want their food to last long, and so therefore that's what they're gonna buy over the thing that's gonna go off. Nobody wants to buy something and it goes off in 2 days, it's gone off in the fridge. We want to have those preservatives so that the food can last longer, because we feel like we're saving money. But in saving money, we're actually losing our health, and that's the problem that we have. People are eating out a lot more these days. Everything is fried and it's oversized, and it's a problem for us. We're talking about fried yam. How many times do you even get boiled yam? Well, you can get a boiled yam, but mostly when you look at the people that sell food on the roadside in Ghana, right, it's fried food. You see it like the fried turkey, fried fish, fried yam, fried kelewele. My gosh, I love, if you watch me for any type of time, you will know that I love plantain. Like I love plantain. I will eat it in all its forms, right? But when it comes to buying fried plantain or having someone cook fried plantain, I'm like, I am even at a point where I'm like, I don't want the plantain that is too soft anymore, because it holds too much oil. I'm like, I can't, at my age, I can't be eating that much oil. It's too much, like your heart. Do you know what I'm saying? So now I always tell people, like, get me the one that's kind of medium. It's in between, I don't really like the soft one too much. Or even if I eat that soft one, I make sure that it's only once in a while, and I'm being careful how I'm eating it, like, because I just feel like it's too much. But that's what we have. All the people that are selling food on the roadside, everything is fried. The indomie, the fried yam, like I said, the fried fish, literally everything on the roadside that you're going to pick up is fried. The only thing that's probably a bit better is when you have the grilled, the roasted plantain. That's cool, right? But everything else is pretty much fried because it's quicker to cook, Like, we have to be very, very careful about the things that we're eating, because where the West is getting better in the types of food that they're consuming, because they're being educated, in Africa, in Ghana, we're not being educated. We are starting to have an obesity problem. How many people, you think about how many people are now starting to die early because they have heart problems, they have diabetes, they have all these problems that are associated because of health. We're not. How many people do you know in Ghana that even exercise? How many people in our family exercise? Apart from the younger generation, like the older generation, how many of them are health conscious in the way that they think about exercising? Not many, because they just don't do it. It's not in our culture. Our culture is just to eat, have a good time, eat, laugh, you know, and all of that stuff. But if we're not doing the work as well to be able to bring the food from the farm to the plate, then we're just eating, we're just consuming. There's no way for us to burn it off. We're just eating upon eating upon eating, and we're just becoming fat. But one thing, in having said all of that, one thing I do want to make clear is that it's not that Ghana foods are bad for you. Because I will eat Ghana food every day over food in the West, right? In fact, since I've been in the States, right, I'm not going to lie to you. I have been craving. I said to my partner, like, I need some peanut soup with, you know, some rice balls. I need like... I want some Ghanaian food in me right now, because the other food, it's nice to have a change. Don't get me wrong, it's nice to have a change. But I'm just like, I've become adapted to some of the Ghanaian foods, and so I miss it in that sense. But we have to be very, very careful about what we're eating. So I'm not trying to say that Ghana food is bad. What I'm saying is that we need to think about portion control. We need to think about how much oil we're adding to our food. And we need to think about exercise when it comes to some of these foods as well, because we are very carb dense in the Ghanaian food that we have. We eat a lot of carbs. You think about it, even salads. Even when we do our Ghanaian salad, have you seen our Ghanaian salads? We do it, you think, oh, it's got lots of lettuce and stuff. And then we bring out the baked beans. We pour the baked beans inside the salad. Then all the mayonnaise, and then we squeeze it all over, and then we mix it up, and that's a Ghana salad. So it's like the thing that was meant to be good has now become bad because of all the things that we put in it. It's not a healthy salad anymore. And even when we have salads, think about it, because I was raised that way. I didn't even know people eat salad and go to bed. I didn't even know that was a thing until I was an adult. I've not seen it before. You know, what you do is you eat your food. So you have your rice, your jollof rice, your chicken, your plantain, and then you have a small bit of salad on the side. And that's how I saw it. That's how I was raised, and that's how a lot of Ghanaians were raised. You have your salad on the side. It's like it's just like a small portion of your food, but that's not how you're meant to eat. You're meant to have, the salad's meant to be the biggest thing, right? And then you have a little bit of rice, then you have your protein. But we don't know about that. We only know about the rice. If you eat the rice, that's going to fill you up. I remember when my children were going to school, and I sent them to school with sandwiches, right? And then the teacher said to them, next time tell your mum to give you proper food. Like, where's the rice? This is not food. I'm like, I just thought it was so funny that people think that way. Because for me, okay, you can eat rice for lunch, but I'm like, it doesn't need to be that heavy, right? You only need something small. Like, what's wrong with having a sandwich at lunch? What's wrong with having salad for lunch? They don't eat those things. They eat proper heavy food. Like, that's what they're going for. And that's okay if you're going to eat that for lunch and then eat something lighter at dinner. But no. They'll eat heavy at lunch and then they'll eat heavy at dinner just before they go to bed too. It's a problem. But anyway, like I said before, I will take Ghana food any day over food in the West. That's not what the issue is for me. The issue is about the way that we're eating it. We need to have portion control, and we need to be sensible about the time that we're eating some of these foods. But anyway, that's where I'm going to leave the video. Let me know what you think about what I've said in the comment section. Do you agree? Do you not agree? What are your observations when it comes to Ghanaian food? I'd love to know all of that good stuff. Let me know. Leave a comment in the comment section for me. If you haven't signed up to be a member of this channel, I'd love it if you do that. Okay, I am going to be uploading more videos on there, which are not going to be open to public, because I'm going to be talking about things that are not as easy to talk about as openly here. Also, if you are interested in doing a one-to-one consultation with me, send me an email to Dela. I talk way too fast sometimes. My goodness, I never realized how fast I talk until I started doing videos, and people are like, you talk really fast, and I'm like, do I? And then I realized it because I trip up on my words. So anyway, let's try that again. If you're interested in doing a one-to-one consultation with me, send me an email to dela@moretodela.com, and we can arrange it from there. Okay, that's the end of today's video. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you haven't already subscribed to this channel, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. Don't forget to also like, comment, and share this video. Until next time, I am out. Let's see